I am not filming where I normally am. And you can hear the airplane that came over right as I was going live. I hope you are all doing great. As you know, every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific, planes or not. Jeez, that is low. Every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific, we go live giving you everything you need to add 6 figures of bookkeeping revenue to your business. So I am live on YouTube, in my Facebook group, and on LinkedIn. So depending on where you're at, you're going to want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, connect with me on LinkedIn, and join my Facebook group, as there is always a ton of great content, advice, and learning going on those channels, all about how to start and grow a 6-figure bookkeeping business. So today I'm going to be talking about demand for bookkeepers, okay, and what that looks like, because I get this question all the time. What's demand look like right now? What does it look like in the future? What are the future prospects? And as I go through things, you are more than welcome to drop questions into the chat or drop questions into the comments, depending on what channel you're watching on. If you're on Facebook, there is a link in the description of this video where you can give my streaming software permission, so that when you type a question in or a comment, I can see your name and we can interact. So feel free to ask questions, not just about this topic, but also uh, any questions you have about starting and growing a bookkeeping business, and we'll answer those. If you're watching this on the replay, feel free to type in your questions after the live stream ends, and I'll get notified and I'll come back to those. So again, I am not in my normal location. We're in San Diego, took a little bit of a staycation with the family, so that's why you don't see that neon sign behind me, but this is maybe even better. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what demand currently looks like for bookkeepers. And the fact is, you can see the title of this video, there is a shortage of quality bookkeepers. Okay, we're talking about bookkeepers who know what they're doing. There's actually a shortage. You can hop online and see a few recent articles of, talking about the shortage of bookkeepers, and one of the reasons for that, and kind of the biggest reason that demand for bookkeepers is so high, is that there are 35, according to the SBA, Small Business Administration, 35 million small businesses out there. According to the SBA, over 5 million new businesses start every single year, which is an insane amount of new businesses that are starting. And every single one of them needs a bookkeeper. 100% of them need a bookkeeper. Every business that's in business, every business operating, needs to have a bookkeeper, needs to be keeping records. It's an actual legal and IRS requirement that they keep records, which is bookkeeping. And so demand is just so strong. Every single one of those businesses needs a bookkeeper. And then these new businesses that are starting every year, they got to have bookkeepers too. So there is a real shortage of quality bookkeeping help out there. So if you're willing to learn this skill, learn bookkeeping, learn how to use QuickBooks, they are out there. Okay. It's a very powerful skill. So you definitely want to, if bookkeeping is something that you've been thinking about, and you've been wondering whether or not demand is going to be there and whether or not clients are out there to find, they're there. And you see people, if you're in my Facebook group, you see people in our group getting clients. We post success stories multiple times per week, so people are getting clients all the time, and that's just because demand is so strong. And what's really cool is that right now it is October 11th. Demand is only getting stronger as we move into the end of the year. Why is that? Well, business owners, they're busy running their business during the year when they should be keeping track of their books, but they're not. Okay. Some of these business owners that try to do everything themselves, they just don't keep up with their books. And so as we move into the end of the year, there are some things that need to be done before the end of the year. And so you got to have your books tight in order for those things to be accomplished. In addition to the fact that tax season is coming up. Okay, so the last couple, 2-3 months of the year are always very, very high demand in terms of people reaching out for bookkeepers. And then the beginning of the next year, so January, February, March, April, as you approach those tax deadlines, demand is super high with business owners scrambling and reaching out for somebody to help them get their books in order so they can get their taxes done. So that is right now, demand is just getting even crazier. Okay, so it's always strong throughout the year because I mean, in addition to just businesses having ongoing bookkeeping needs, the the tax deadlines are March and April for businesses, and then a lot of businesses, they put their taxes on extension, and so that means the new deadline for those businesses that are on extension, September, October. So you've got, October, November, December as we head into the end of the year. You've got January, February, March, April, and then you've got like August, September, and October. So you've really got most of the year covered, but especially around those deadlines and end of year, that's when demand is off the charts. So demand right now is strong. Demand as we move into the end of the year is just getting even stronger. So if you have got your bookkeeping business out there, you want to make sure you are marketing yourself properly. Okay. And so I see, Marie, I see in the comments, you're like, I need clients. I only have one. So it's all about getting your marketing done properly. Okay. In my mentorship program, we cover all of the most effective marketing strategies, but they've got to be implemented properly. Okay, you implement them properly, you reach out to us for support, and we will work together to make sure that they are exactly where they need to be. If you're not in my mentorship program, that's okay too. Whatever you're doing for marketing, double down on it right now because demand is super, super strong. Now, if you haven't started a bookkeeping business yet and you're on the fence and you're curious about whether or not that's something you should do, if wondering if demand was there is was holding you back, let that not be the case any longer. Do not wait. You could, and we have had people around this time of year get started, and between now and the tax deadline, March and April of next year, the following year, you've got your business at the six-figure level. So that is 100% possible, but you've got to be focusing your time on what's really effective. Learning bookkeeping in QuickBooks shouldn't take, the fundamentals and enough to get you started shouldn't take more than 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, 6 to 8 weeks to do that, and then boom, you're off to the races. And as long as you're marketing yourself properly, you can do big things. Imagine being able to quit your full-time job next March or April if you're just getting started. I mean, if that's what you're doing, if you're working a full-time job and wanting to replace that income, that's certainly within the realm of possibility as long as you learn how to do this and as long as you know exactly how to market yourself, what marketing strategies to use, and then inside of those marketing strategies, what to say. You've got to say the right things. We've got to be focused on client benefits as opposed to, hey, I'm a bookkeeper and I do bookkeeping. Okay, so there's a right way and a wrong way to do that. So demand is super high right now. So certainly entertain either getting started right now, or if you're already started, doubling down and renewing your focus on marketing and getting clients because they're out there. And as long as you know where to find them, you're going to do really, really well. So now let's talk about the future of bookkeeping. Okay, I have a lot of people that reach out and say, well, Bill, what about automation and what about all this other stuff? And is it going to be around for, how long is it going to be around? And my first reaction to that is, who cares, really? Who cares? Now, when I say who cares, I mean, well, like we've got people in the program and, including myself, doing multiple six figures every year. Like if bookkeeping isn't around for even 5 or 10 years from now, it's like, who cares? Are we going to ignore this massive opportunity to make insane income? I mean, that's ridiculous. You could make enough in the next 5 to 10 years to retire, so like, who cares? Number one. But number two, the truth is that bookkeeping isn't going anywhere. Okay. Bookkeeping has been around since businesses have been around, okay, which is basically forever, okay? Businesses need to be keeping track of their books. Now, the question really boils down to what we do as bookkeepers, the tasks that we currently perform when we talk about doing bookkeeping, are those tasks going to go away because automation is coming in? And the answer is, yeah, maybe some of it, but automation is making our lives as bookkeepers so much easier. It's so much easier. We used to do a lot of stuff manually when it comes to bookkeeping, and automation has come in and automated all that. Okay, it's removed a lot of that manual work. So that's really, really awesome. It lets us uh, ditch that manual stuff and focus more on the higher value stuff that clients really, really care about. Okay, helping them interpret the numbers. Even if there's automation, you got to have somebody coming in and connecting these systems, setting them up, maintaining them. Bookkeeping is not going anywhere. Automation is doing nothing but making our jobs simpler. And keep this in mind, because if you've followed me and you've watched other videos on my YouTube channel, or anywhere else, I'm a big proponent of pricing our services based on the value that we provide. If we can help clients create value for their business, we help them, we take over the bookkeeping so that they can focus on growing their business, or we get in and as a result of the work we do, we help them solve problems that help them grow their business. We're having an actual impact, a specific impact on their business. Okay, a dollar value. You could look at a before and after and say, as a result of having this incredible bookkeeper, I'm making an extra couple $100,000 a year, or whatever the case may be, because now they don't have to worry about the bookkeeping, or now they're getting the information they need to look at their business and say, hey, wait a minute, there's an opportunity for growth here. I didn't know that because I didn't have this information before. So you're able to really assign a dollar value to that. And when you're able to assign a dollar value to that, you're able to command more premium fees. Okay. You're able to have these conversations with clients that illustrate the specific benefit and the value that you're creating for them. They're going to pay a lot more for that than if we were to have conversations like, I'll just take care of your bookkeeping. Do you need a bookkeeper? I'll do your bookkeeping. And so with automation, what happens with automation, that comes in and that allows us to, again, provide that value, and now we're spending even less amount of time on their books. How cool is that, right? So it's all about the value, okay? Clients will pay for value regardless of how much time you spend on things, okay? They want the end result. They don't care about the time you spend on things. So if automation comes in and helps us be more efficient, spend less time on things, how great is that? Because again, we're providing that great value. So no, automation isn't going to be the end of bookkeeping. It's going to evolve what we do. It's what we do is going to evolve as a result of certain processes being automated, but there will always be a need for folks like us to get these systems set up. The work will never be 100% automated. Okay, automation cannot replace 100% of what we do, not even close, right? So they're still going to need us. They're still going to need a partner to help them interpret the data. Okay, they're not going. AI, automation is not going to be able to look at their financial statements and tell them what to do to grow their business, or to identify opportunities, or to identify potential threats to their business. So demand is strong now. It's going to get even stronger over the next 6 months or so. So now's a really great time to get started. And if you've been thinking about starting a bookkeeping business and what that looks like in terms of your career and what it looks like over the long term, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. And even if it were, remember, Bill said, who cares? Okay, who cares? If I'm making 6 figures this year, or multiple 6 figures this year, and next year, and I do that for 5 or 10 years, and then bookkeeping, for whatever reason, just poof and vanishes, and I have to find something else to do, guess what? I'll probably be retired. With those numbers, I mean, run the numbers for yourself. You'll probably be retired anyway, in which case, who cares? Okay, who cares what happens to bookkeeping? But it's not going anywhere. Okay, it's not going anywhere for the reasons that I mentioned. Okay, so demand is super strong. So I will stay on here for a little while and answer questions. So if you're watching live, feel free to type in any questions that you have. I'll answer those. I'll answer as many as I can while I'm live here. If you are watching this when the live stream is over, do the same. Type in questions, comments, and I'll get notified and I'll come back and check them out. All right, so we got a question here. My client decided to subscribe to QBO, but the bank downloaded transactions don't go back too far. What would you do to put the old transactions into QBO? Most of the time when this happens, it's just a matter of logging into the client's bank account. You should already have login details. Your clients can give you your own login information. and you can log in and you can download a file. Okay, because when you're actually on the bank's website, you can download typically, really far back, years worth of transactions. You download those into a file, then you can jump over to QuickBooks and you can upload those. Okay, you definitely don't want to go in and manually add things. So that's how you're going to want to handle that. All right, cool. So it doesn't look like too many comments or questions, which is totally fine because as you can see, I'm on a little staycation here with the family, and I know we've got some fun things planned, which is, I don't, me, I'm not one for kind of showing off, all kinds of flashy parts of my life. I'm just not that kind of person. Um, you see a lot of people out there that show off you know, all kinds of things as a result of my business. I was able to do this, this, and this, and look at this, and look at my, all my fancy cars and toys that I buy. I'm just not like that. That's not where I put my energy and focus. But bookkeeping has absolutely changed my life. I mean, those of you who have followed me for any period of time, it's, it allows us to take little trips and things like that because we work remotely and virtually. We can work anytime, anywhere. My bookkeeping business is running itself right now, which is really cool. So those, I am thankful for, all those years ago. I'm thankful for, I've told the story about that job that was giving me night terrors. Okay. I look back and I'm thankful for those, for that job, even though it gave me night terrors and scared the heck out of my wife. But that's where I stumbled upon bookkeeping, and so I'm really thankful for that because it's completely changed our lives. And for people who are dedicated and committed to learning how to do it, it's not hard. It's about 6 to 8 weeks to learn it, and then putting in the work to find clients. Again, not that hard as long as you know the right marketing strategies to use and then what to say in those marketing strategies. I mean, you can kill it. You can do really, really well. And hey, what if you retire in 5 to 10 years? And then we're not asking questions like, what is the future demand for bookkeeping for bookkeepers look like, right? So, yeah, I'm really fortunate to be able to run not just my mentorship program, but like my bookkeeping business from anywhere. And to generate that kind of income, it's pretty cool. So I got a couple other questions here. Here's one on Facebook, and I encourage you to type questions in while I'm live here. I'm happy to answer a few questions, whatever it is about starting and growing your bookkeeping business. Because again, demand is at an all-time high right now. Like if you're on the fence, get started. Okay, the longer you sit on that fence, the more it's costing you to sit on that fence. So, all right, we're answering a question here on Facebook. Can a client be charged more the first month with the understanding that charges may go down after the books are in order? What I like to do is I like to price these engagements as if, like, I take a look at I take a look at the entire thing. I mean, of course, as the first month there may be some more setup work, but I'm not going to charge more or less. Okay, I'm going to price this engagement with the data I have. Okay, what's it going to look like on a monthly basis? I mean, it would be extremely rare to work with a client where that first month is so much more work than the following months. I mean, that's just rare. It just doesn't happen. I don't see that. So I price it that, so that like every month is the same. If there's a little bit more work that first month, I don't care about that. That doesn't really bother me because the truth of the matter is, what I like to look at and what I encourage everybody to really think about when we're talking about getting bookkeeping clients and how much we're charging and how much we are paying to get these clients or how much work we're doing to get these clients is look at the lifetime value of that client. Okay, a lot of people say, oh geez, Bill, these $300, $500 a month clients, I mean, big whoop. I mean, come on. Well, people who say that are extremely short-sighted. Watch out for people who say that, because here's the thing. First off, that's not the entire story. Okay, there are scenarios where I would jump. Okay, I would walk through a river full of piranhas to get to a $300 a month client instead of a $3,000 a month client. Okay, now why is that? Why would I say something so ridiculous? Well, the truth is the more we charge, generally, the more complexity there is. Okay, I have $300 to $500 a month clients where I go in and I knock out their books in half an hour a month. That's the amount of work I do for the entire month. And so think about that. That's 300. Let's say $300 for the month, and I only spend half an hour. So I'm realizing hourly rates of about $600 an hour on that client. That's huge. That's what I look at the end of the day. Okay, I look at that as in the $3,000 a month client, you might also be in that range, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. Just because you're charging, these bigger numbers, don't mean those margins are there. And when I say margins, I'm talking about how much we charge versus how much time it takes us to deliver that service. Okay. The other issue with saying, oh, boy, bill these $300 to $500 a month clients, I mean, big whoop. Well, consider the lifetime value. Always be looking at the lifetime value. Okay. Clients stay with us on average 5 to 7 years. Okay. So let's call it 6 years. Okay. If we're charging a client $500 a month, so over the course of the first year, that's $6,000 in our pocket. Okay. But then that's $6,000 over the next 6 years. Okay. So it's really $36,000 that this client is worth to us. All right. So if the first month I spend, a couple hours more on their books, I'm not sweating it because I'm looking at that $36,000. Okay. And I encourage you to do that too. And I also encourage you to look at lifetime value when it comes to the methods that you're using to get clients. Okay. As we all know, there are two ways of getting clients. You can pay to get clients via advertising, or you can just put in, that old elbow grease. Okay. Like you just put in the work to find clients. I'm a big fan of hey, when you're getting started, sure, there's a lot of free stuff that you can do that's super effective. In fact, most of the people in our 100K club, they just use organic strategies. But the people who want to get there more quickly, or the people who don't want to put in that work, I just don't want to do it, advertising all day, every day. Okay. Some people say, well, advertising, I got to spend something. Well, if you do it, if you just put in the work, you're spending something there too. You're spending your time. Okay. And time is the most precious resource we have. Okay. At the end of our lives, we're not going to be laying there saying, boy, I'm glad I did things. I'm glad I spent so much time doing things the free way. That was time really well spent, as opposed to boy, I wish I would have spent more time, with my family or doing the things I love. Money allows you to skip that waiting period. Okay. So and I'm not saying everybody needs to just start advertising yesterday. I'm saying when the time is right, when you've got profits from your business, you plow that back into your business. And now you can take that time that you would have spent, beating the streets and, doing things the free way. And you can turn that time into time that you spend with your loved ones. I mean, you're basically replacing that money. We can always make more money. In fact, if you advertise, you come out further ahead because the money helps you get clients more quickly. So over the course of the next 6 months to a year, when you're investing that money into getting clients, it's not just money leaving your pocket. You're getting more clients. So at the end of the 6 months or the year that you've been doing this, you'll have way more clients than if you were doing it, trying to do it, all the free ways. And so you've come out further ahead, even considering the amount of money that you've spent. So your profit at the end of the year is going to be dramatically higher because you've spent money on advertising. So I'm a big proponent of getting started. I mean, you can do some major damage with free marketing strategies. Okay, do not discount those. Okay, and you guys know what I'm talking about. You've got so many effective marketing strategies that are free and they don't take a ton of time. But then when you start generating profits from your business, it can make a lot of sense to start pushing that fast forward button so that you are now able to kind of buy back your time. And at the end of the day, you're way further ahead. And you can only do that if you really look at that lifetime value. Okay. We have people I just launched this new lead generation program where we get prospects calls scheduled on people's calendars for you. Okay. And it's in the multiple 4 figures investment per month, multiple 4 figures. Okay. So we're talking some dollars. And so you might say, well, great, Bill, you got me, that's great. But what if I only get, one client that pays me $500. I get a $500 client, and I've spent a couple $1,000 to get that client. That's that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Well, again, you got to look at the lifetime value over the course of 1 year. That $500 a month client, that nets you six grand. If you turned a couple grand into 6 grand, you cannot earn that return anywhere on the planet. Okay, not in the stock market, not in real estate. You can't turn a couple grand into 6 grand over the course of a year. But guess what? That's 6 years. Okay, this year and next year and next year. So that's 36 grand. You're turning a couple $1,000s into 36 grand lifetime value. Okay, that $500 a month client equals big dollars for you. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so to the person who asked this question, I can't see your name because you haven't clicked the link in the description where I can giving my streaming software permission to see your name, which is totally fine. But lifetime value is what it's all about there. So we're not going to really be focused on charging that first month, just because there's a little bit of extra work. We're not going to charge more for that. Okay. Now, as we work with a client, as situations change with clients, activity goes up, activity goes down. If there's an extended period of activity, increase or decrease in activity, or sustained over the course of a month, 2 months, 3 months, then yeah, we're going to adjust fees. We are going to adjust fees. I'm not going to lock myself into a fee structure, $1,000 a month, and then 6 months down the road, the business just doubles in size. I'm not going to lock myself into that. I'm having a conversation and saying, "Hey, great! Look at the great things we've been able to accomplish with you by helping you. Here's what things are going to look like moving forward." So that's how you want to handle that. All right, we got Kalina. Hey, Kalina. Hey, good morning to you. How do you handle internet security on a laptop while traveling and working on your business? Just all of the standard like security protocols, like firewalls, and I'll use a VPN sometimes. So just all of those standard things that you would normally use, from a security perspective, firewalls and like software firewalls and VPN. Using a VPN, those will pretty much get you exactly where you need in terms of security. Absolutely. All right, another question. Can I write off the course fee as a business expense? I know most people write off the course as a marketing expense. Marketing is a major part of what we do, and most people write that off as a marketing expense. All right. Feel free to type your questions in. I'll be on for just for a little while longer. So if you have any questions, type them in. If you're watching this on the replay, you can do the same, and I'll get a notification. I'll come back and I'll answer those questions later. Okay. So you feel like you're bothering the CPA if you go there and talk to them. Why would you feel that way? Why would you feel that way? Now, if you walk in during busy season, okay, and when I say busy season, I'm talking like March, April. Okay. If you walk in and said, "Hello, Mr. or Mrs. CPA, do you got a few minutes to talk?" They're probably going to say, "You're bothering me." Go away. All right. Unless it's to drop off, cookies or donuts and coffee or whatever the case may be, and then get the heck out of there. They're probably going to tell you that you're bothering them. I have had people do that. I've had people do that. In fact, one of the major software, accounting software providers, I won't name any names, but they're trying to really market their accounting software, and it's a well-known accounting software, and they have representatives, and they just knocked on my door on the tax deadline, March 15th, 1 year. March 15th, they knocked on my door. Now, I don't even see clients, okay? Like, nobody's knocked on that door in ages, all right? And this was before COVID ever hit, okay? It's all remote for us, all right? Everything we do is done remotely. So they're knocking on my door, and and they won't go away. They will not go away. So I answer the door, and I'm not happy because I've got work to do, okay? It's the deadline. It's the deadline day, okay? So I answer the door, and I mean, these are accounting software people. Okay, they know what day it is, and they open the door, or I open the door, and I don't know what I said. I probably said something like "what," and I probably said it like that. And the first words out of their mouth were, "Hey, really sorry to bother you. I know it's tax day, but wanted to talk to you about this accounting software." Oh, great. You really sound like you're really sensitive to what I'm going through. You recognize that you're completely like just coming through at the wrong time. But hey, who cares about that? I know you're probably busy, but who cares about that? Because I want something out of, I'm selfish and I want something out of this interaction. Like, how ridiculous. So yeah, if you're going during busy season, yeah. In fact, I wouldn't not go during busy season. Connecting with CPAs is an incredibly powerful way of growing your business. We have people in the program that's all they do is partner with CPAs, and they're doing insanely well. Okay. But like, if I were going to go visit CPAs and it just happened to be busy season, guess what? I'm not waiting for busy season to be over. I'm growing my business, right? I'm going to do what it takes to grow my business. But I'm also going to be cognizant of the fact that when I walk in there, I'm not really expecting any conversation at all. I'm walking in with coffee, donuts, brownies, cookies, whatever the case may be. I'm walking in and saying, "Hey guys and gals, whatever. I know you're busy. I know this is a busy season. Thought this might help get you through the day." And I would walk out of there. Maybe have my logo on something or like a card or something. They're going to remember that so that when you follow up after tax season, boom, you're done. Give without expecting anything in return. Whether it's giving, you know, candy and sweets or whatever the case may be, or giving of your time and attention and help and really trying to understand problems that a business owner is going through, and you will receive. Okay, so that's what I would do during busy season. When it's off busy season, it's not busy season, they've got all the time in the world. Why would you be bothering them? If you feel like you might be bothering them, there might be an issue with how you feel about what you bring to the table. Okay, if you were walking in there with a briefcase full of $20,000, just it's like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. CPA, I got a briefcase here. I got $20,000 for you. It's yours. Just I'm just being nice. I'm just a nice person. You think you'd be bothering them? I don't think so. Because why? Well, you've got something of value you're giving them. Okay, you're giving them something of value. Okay, if we if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing as bookkeepers, helping take the overload, the bookkeeping overflow work off their hands, solving a huge problem for them, or you're helping a CPA offer bookkeeping to their clients. A lot of CPAs, they don't do bookkeeping, and they love to offer that as a service, but they don't have the time, they don't have the energy, they don't have, they'd have to hire somebody to do it. You can come in, and now it looks like there's a one-stop shop there. Okay, and so now they're more attractive. That's solving a big business problem for them. Okay, look at it from the mindset of you've got something really valuable to give them. I mean, what you're doing for CPAs in terms of taking that overflow work off their hands, that mentally can be a huge relief for them. Or helping them add bookkeeping as a service, that could be worth a lot more than a briefcase with 20 grand in it. Okay, I mean, that could translate into even more money for them, or it could translate into them just being, like happier and less stressed out at their job. So think about that. Okay, think about that. If you feel like you might be bothering CPAs, well, don't bother them. Okay, understand the value of what we're walking in with. Focus on that value instead of what's in it for you, because if you focus on what's in it for you, you're going to be bothering them. If you're walking in and you're saying, hey, yeah, I'm a new bookkeeper, and I was, you're a CPA, you work with a lot of small businesses. I was wondering if you'd refer me some bookkeeping clients. Yeah, you're going to be bothering them. What's in it for them? Big deal. Like, it's all about you, right? Nobody likes that. Okay, walk in and we talk to these CPAs. We have conversations about what's in it for them. What partnering with us or setting up a referral relationship with us, how that's going to improve their business and their life. Okay, those are the conversations that you want to have, and then you will not be bothering them. Okay, you walk in and we solve problems, whether we're talking to clients or we're talking to people we're partnering with. It's about solving problems. All right, good question though. Good question, because everybody's at a different stage of their business and confidence level and things like that. So I'll answer a few more questions. So if you want to go ahead and type in any questions or comments that you have, I'll answer those before I hop off here. So we've got one on YouTube. What's up, 80? How do you approach clients who want to try you out for a month because they think you charge too much? That is probably going to be, I've never encountered that before. Okay, but there's only one reason that they would say, "Oh, I think you charge too much." And that's because they don't see the value in what you do. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they don't see the value in what you do. It's our fault because we didn't clearly communicate that. And I'm not talking just telling them, "Hey, bookkeepers do valuable work. Hey, bookkeepers are important. Hey, it's like we've got to have that conversation in our consultation call where we ask questions about what challenges they're facing in their business. As bookkeepers, we solve a lot of problems. That's something that I think a lot of bookkeepers overlook. We're not just people who put numbers in boxes. Okay. Even the act of putting numbers in boxes is very valuable work, because that that results in incredibly accurate and powerful information that business owner is going to use to grow their business. All right. So that's incredibly powerful, even just like the basics. All right. But if we haven't asked them about what kinds of problems they're trying to solve or what their goals are, the act of doing that helps illustrate that value. If they're currently having problems in their business, and guess what? Every business is having challenges and problems. Okay, whether it's cash flow, whether it's they want to expand but they can't figure out how, like these are all problems that we can help with. Okay, and so if we can have this conversation about how, what problems they're having, what their goals are, what their current plans are, which are probably, hey, let me, my only plan was just to work harder. Well, that hasn't worked for you over the last 10 years you've owned this business. So maybe we need to put together a plan, to do that. And when you're able to talk in those terms, now you're talking about solving these problems that we can have conversations about how large they are, how much they're costing, how much these problems are costing them, that we haven't solved them yet. How much money, like if you're at, I don't know, if you're at $500,000 in revenue, or let's say you're at like 750K in revenue annually, and they've just always wanted to break that $1 million mark, but they just haven't been able to get there. Well, guess what? They have a $250,000 problem. They have a $250,000 problem that they have not been able to solve because they don't have somebody like you. Okay, like you on your team, on their team, that's a partner that's handling these things. They're taking care of the books themselves, or they have an office manager who doesn't know how to do it, trying to do it. So they're not getting the information they need to grow the business. Okay, that's a $250,000 problem. If I'm able to have this conversation with someone, and just the act of having that conversation is something that they've never really done before, okay, with anybody. They're psychologically, they're like, okay, well, wow, I've never really spoken about this in these terms with someone. That illustrates your authority. Okay, the fact that you care, the fact that you're having this conversation will help them understand that, like, they'll actually feel like you have the solution, whether or not you've even talked about the solution, because you're asking these questions. And as a result of having this consultation properly, you eliminate at the end of the call them saying, I like it's too expensive. Okay, by the time they say it's too expensive at the end of the call, like the deal has already kind of been won or lost. Okay, because you do all the work to ensure that doesn't happen earlier in the call. Okay, by communicating and outlining, illustrating that value, asking good questions, things like that. So, back to your question, the best way to handle that is to prevent it from happening in the first place. If this is a client that you've already gotten into this situation with, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it beyond like, hey, let's start working together this month, and let me try to knock it out of the park for this person to see if this this engagement continues. Well, that's really all you can do at this point. But eliminate this from happening in the future by getting better on your consultation calls. That's what you want to do. Okay, cool. Cool. Feel free to sneak in any last questions. I'll answer a couple more before I hop off. All right. Thanks, Bill, for your input on contacting CPAs. Feel more encouraged. Now, definitely don't let anything stop you from growing your bookkeeping business. We're talking about, hey, this is serious business, right? This is life. This is life. Okay. Like, I mean, let's not let anything hold us back. Being a successful business owner, hey, just like as bookkeepers, you're a problem solver. Okay, we're problem solvers. You solve enough problems in your bookkeeping business, guess what? You get to make six figures, and you get to have this incredible life. So don't let anything stop you. If you feel like you're stuck, or reach out for support. If you're not part of a mentorship program like mine, find one or find a mentor, whatever the case may be. Don't let anything stop you. There is a solution to every problem you have out there. You don't think I faced a ton of problems, building my business and trying to figure out all this stuff? Tons of problems, but I figured out a bunch of problems, and now I'm doing all right. All right, let's see here. In my desperation to get my first client, I decided to charge $45 per hour for the first 3 months, then charge a fixed amount monthly after I became more familiar with their financial system. I don't recommend that, but I will say this. My first client I ever signed, I signed them it was still flat. It wasn't hourly. I'm not a big fan of hourly at all. It's a bad idea for everybody. But I did charge them less than what I should have. Like, I charged them $250 a month, when really I was like, 300 is my minimum, but I charged them $250. It was my first client. I was like, all right, let me get something going here. So, hey, we all start somewhere. But what I would like to do, I would like to be that vessel for you that helps you kind of skip all of that. Okay, to skip all of that. And I can only do that if you just kind of trust me, trust the system, this stuff works. If we get out of our own way. Okay, if we get out of our own way. A lot of times our minds put these limitations, on us that have nothing to do with reality. Oh, I can't do that because I've got no experience, or I can't do that. I can't charge that because I'm just starting out. That's a load of bull. Okay, that's a load of bull. What we do is very valuable. Okay, whether we're just starting out or not, it makes no difference. So, everybody goes through an evolution, but my goal would be for you to not take that kind of cop out. Okay, don't like nobody needs experience before they start working with clients. Nobody needs experience before they can charge, good rates. Nobody does. Okay, nobody does. I don't care. I don't care if you're just starting out. Doesn't matter. All right, looks like I got a couple more here, and then I will jump off. So any last minute questions, feel free to type them in. The way I get that way I get experience in perhaps my first review. Still, you don't need experience. Like you need training so that you can do a good job, and then you need resources that help you, that you can reach out to as you encounter things that you've never seen before, you have questions about. Virtually every single client I work with, even now, there's something about their books that I have never seen before, that I haven't dealt with, and I've got to figure it out. Okay, so if that happens to somebody that's been doing it for a long time, it happens to all of us. Okay, it doesn't stop me from charging what I'm worth. Okay, so thinking that you need experience, you can get all the reviews you're looking for, and I know you know how to do that already. Okay, so and then you're just saying, I hate hourly, but I had to start at some point. Well, I mean, like I said, everybody goes through, kind of an evolution there, but there wasn't a necessity for you to start hourly. But the fact that you did, look, if this changes into a client that that you can grow with, great. But as you progress and grow your business, now you can skip all that stuff. And I'd like people to skip all that stuff from the beginning. But I'm not here to rain on anybody's parade, because guess what? There's a ton of people out there that have not gotten their bookkeeping business started. I've got people that contact me and they say, Bill, boy, I've been thinking about this bookkeeping thing and following you for like 2 years. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, let's look. If bookkeeping's right for you, like it might be right for you. Well, I'll say this. I have somebody in my life who doesn't like their job. Okay, and that's not unique, but this person doesn't like their job. Um, and I said, well, hey, you could start a bookkeeping business. And so this person kind of started looking at it. Somebody I have in my life, so I let them kind of look. I gave them the program for free, and they started going through it a little bit, and they're like, I don't. And I followed up with them, how things going. I don't really know if I want to do that. I don't know if that's, I don't know if I would really like that. You hate your job. You hate your job. You're making, you're not making the type of money you want to make at your job. You don't like your job. If you don't like your job, doesn't it make sense that, like, hey, if I got to do something I don't like, I'd rather that thing be something where I own my own business. I don't have to answer to a boss that I can't stand. I don't have to work with people I don't like. I don't have a fixed schedule. I'm making a ton of money. Like, I mean, come on. So I talked about this a little bit last week. It's like, hey, like, choose your uncomfortable, okay, or choose your hard, choose your, unpleasant. Like, if you got a job you don't love, okay, and you're like, well, I don't know if I'd like bookkeeping. Well, guess what? You got a job you don't love. Own a business you don't love. At least you're making more money, and you've got flexibility, and like you've got all those benefits that you do not get with a job. It's like, so I don't understand that. But like I said, whether, like, make the decision that's right for you, whether or not bookkeeping is something that you want to be doing, but make the decision quickly. Okay, you don't have to make it overnight, but make it quickly. This isn't something you should spend more than a week thinking about. Okay, whether or not bookkeeping is right for you. If it is, pursue it. There's a lot of free resources you can take advantage of. I've got my free training. If you go to boomingbookkeeping.com, it gives you a ton of information that you can actually start using on your own. Okay, I talk about my mentorship program at the end. You do not need that to get started and kind of get your feet wet to determine if this is right for you. If it's right for you, go for it. Okay, if it's not right for you, guess what? You figured that out, and now you're one step closer to finding out what is right for you. Right? Like, if it's right for you, you go. And if it's not, hey, great. I found that it's not right for me. I'm one step closer to finding out what is right for me. And so the people that come to me and they're like, yeah, Bill, I've been following you for 2 years. What are we thinking about here? I mean, what are we thinking about? So, entertain that. If you're thinking about it, make a decision one way or the other, because that speed will get you to where you want to be a lot quicker, whether it's bookkeeping or not. And as we've discussed in this video, demand for bookkeepers is super hot right now. Okay, it's super hot right now. So if this is something you feel confident in, get started or double down on your marketing. Okay, it's very hot right now, and over the next 6 months, it's going to get even hotter as we approach that deadline. Hey, what's up, Cole? On LinkedIn, working and praying to be freed from an employer to make this business work. One client so far. That's where it starts. It starts with that first client. That first client, for me was like, that's what encouraged you to keep going. If you can do it once, guess what? You can do it again. Okay, so it's the first of many. All right, so let's wrap things up here. I've enjoyed talking about this. If you have any other questions or comments, even after this stream is over, drop them into the chat, drop them into the comments. I will come back and I'll answer those. You can also just reach me on Facebook. Send a message to the Booming Bookkeeping Business Facebook page with any questions you have. All right. So, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. I can't promise that I'll be out here, with this nice backdrop, but every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, we go live. I give you everything you need to build a 6-figure bookkeeping business. So, with that said, I will sign off here. I wish you a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you